कुहकनो मना क्षोभयन्ति कुहकनो मनः क्षोभयन्ति कुहकनो मनः क्षोभयन्ति
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। My dear Lord, please guide us so that we can awaken the divine emotions that are presently dormant in our hearts. Hare Krishna. So today we continue our discussion on the Gopi Gita, and here in different ways the gopis are calling out to Krishna, please return. The gopis are seated on the banks of the Jamuna. It's night, there is the moon in the sky. They're feeling the gentle breeze coming from the river. They are seeing the beauty of the sky, the beauty of the forest, the beauty of the rivers, and all of it is only increasing the agony of their hearts, because all of this beauty has no meaning for them without the presence of Krishna. In fact, all the other beauty is only reminding them of his painful, in fact unbearably painful absence. And as they are remembering the beauty of, seeing the beauty of nature, they are remembering even more the beauty of Krishna. And thus, as they meditate and call out to Krishna, they are describing his beautiful features. Prahasitam priya prema vekshanam. So Krishna had a gentle smile on his face when he was playing his flute and calling the gopis. And as they came, he was acknowledging their arrival, smiling at them gently. Prema vekshanam. He was glancing at them. Ikshanam is glance. Vikshanam is a side glance. So while sometimes Krishna would glance at them directly, like at the times of the Ras Leela, most of the times the gopis and Krishna, they would not be able to meet so directly. Vrindavan was still a traditional conservative place, and the Vrajavasis, They all were devoted to Krishna, but still there was a convention of how they lived. So every day when Krishna would go out to the forest, at that time the gopis would come on the terraces of their homes. And from there they would behold Krishna. And Krishna would have a side glance at them. So that way people would not notice, but he would glance at them. The gopis would notice. So, Vikshanam Prahasitam Priya Prema Vikshanam. Your beautiful sidelong glances filled with love. They are what the gopis are calling out. They're remembering. Viharanam chate. Viharanam. Viharanam is play, pastime, lila. This is that remembering your pastimes is dhyana mangalam. That actually is very auspicious. So normally, the previous verse also said that Shravana Mangalam. So from natural beauty, they are reminded of Krishna's beauty. And as they're remembering Krishna's beauty, Krishna, they're not just hearing Krishna's pastimes, Krishna has performed pastimes with them. So it's a much, much more intimate level of participation they have had. So, Dhyana Mangalam. So it is not just, it's very auspicious to remember these pastimes. And they are themselves doing dhyan of those pastimes. Dhyan is a very advanced stage of absorption. Yeah, dhyan, dharan, samadhi. So dhyan doesn't just mean thinking. Dhyan means meditating, being absorbed. Dhyana Mangalam. And then they are saying, not only did Krishna perform pastimes with us, but Rahasi Samvido Yardi Sprushaha. Rahasi Samvido. Krishna spoke very confidential words. Samvido is samvad. Rahasi is alone in private. That when we are with others, sometimes we have to put on a profile, put on a appearance before others. So even if, say, among two people there is a lot of quarrel going on, but still in public, they will speak very positively about each other. Because in one sense that may be required for the surveys, they may be conscious of their image, whatever it is. That the idea is that if, say, parents have a quarrel, they won't quarrel in front of their children. When the children go out of the room, children are somewhere else, the parents will close the door and then they will have their heated discussion or whatever. So the point is that in public, we may speak certain things. And that's fair enough. Even if public, if somebody appreciates, that is of value. But in private, when somebody speaks some words of praise, so that is not for public. That is not for public perception. That is not for PR value. That we are speaking because we value that person. So Rahasi Samvido. The gopis are saying, in private, in these forests, when we met and we talked, and you spoke such sweet words to us that Yardi Sprusha, that they touched our heart, they conquered our heart. Yardi Sprusha. And then they're saying, oh Krishna, Kuhako no mana shobhayanti. And while all these are auspicious, all these are wonderful, but the more we are remembering them, Kuhakano mana, our mind, shobhayanti, it is actually becoming more and more agitated. So while remembering Krishna's pastimes is auspicious, it's mangalam, but for them it is leading to shobhayanti, it's leading to agitation. That is because this Krishna, this wonderful Krishna was with us and he is gone. Why is he gone? When is he going to come back? They're just not able to figure out. So the Kshobhayanti, agitation, is for multiple reasons. At the first level, there is a loss. And loss is bad enough. But they're at loss about why the loss. At loss means they just don't know. It's like, we invested money in a bank and the money just disappeared. What happened? Did somebody steal the money from us? Did the bank crash? If we have no explanation, they say, "Oh, your money is lost." We say, "How can it be lost?" There has to be some explanation. They're at a loss at why there is such a loss. And then on top of that, this loss is in a place where they expected the greatest gain. They have come to the forest, giving up everything for Krishna. That point of giving up, they will talk a little later. But they have come, lost, at place of expected gain. So if you go to some place where we expect a very difficult discussion, because we know that person is unhappy with us, so then we are a little prepared for it. But if we go for what is expected to be a very warm and pleasant meeting, and there suddenly the person starts chastising us and berating us and literally spewing out poison, we are unprepared. That causes even more pain. Kshobhayanti. They're agitated. So the gopis are finding all this just unbearable. And that's how they're saying, "Krishna, we are agitated. Please come back. Please come back and relieve us of this agitation. Please explain what happened. Please explain what we should do." If somebody is upset with us and they tell why we are upset, why they are upset, we can try to fix it. But if we have no idea what has gone wrong, then it is very difficult. So, Kshobhayanti. We are agitated, Krishna. Our mind is unbearably agitated. So, thinking about Krishna is normally meant to pacify us. But sometimes thinking about Krishna can also agitate us. So we say, then what is the point of thinking about Krishna? Isn't it? Bhajahure mana Shrinandanandana Abhaya Charanaravindare. So I want to have Abhaya. I think about Krishna to be free from fear. But if thinking about Krishna is going to cause me agitation, it's going to cause me anxiety. And what is the point of it? So actually, there is a point that in our Krishna consciousness, when we are trying to have a relationship with Krishna, now we are fighting in one sense two battles. There is the internal battle for remembrance. We want to remember Krishna. But there is an external battle for service. We don't just want to remember Krishna sitting in some cave peacefully. We want to serve Krishna. We want to do something tangible for Krishna. And for remembering Krishna, we have to fight against our mind which distracts us. And that is a tough fight. And for serving Krishna, we have to fight against the world. Because nothing in this world is easy. If you want to achieve anything materially, it is not easy. If you want to achieve anything spiritually also, it is not easy. If you want to build a bungalow, it's not easy. So many complications come up. If you want to build a temple for Krishna, it's not easy. It's the nature of the world. So in both cases there is fight. It is against the mind and against the world. So now, in one sense, we are fighting this battle on two fronts. And sometimes what happens is that these two battles themselves start fighting against each other. That means sometimes our thoughts of service distract us from our remembrance. You may say the service is for Krishna. But in serving Krishna, okay, I come this problem, that problem, that problem. What am I going to do? And then we sit down to chant, we will not be able to chant. And sometimes remembrance may come in the way of service. Now if somebody, say, sitting in a class and they start chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, it's good to chant, but maybe not in a class, isn't it? Say, if we have a heart attack and say we are taken to hospital, the devotee is a heart surgeon. And while doing heart surgery, the devotee starts chanting Hare Krishna. I say, hey, I want to go back home, not go back to Godhead right now. So, at that time, if the devotee doctor wants to chant, that's good. But the focus should be on doing the surgery properly. Isn't it? If the devotee is doing surgery, is focusing on chanting and does some surgery wrong, then that will be a disservice. So basically, sometimes between remembrance and service itself can be a tension. And one time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada in the Juhu project time that he said that, Prabhupada, there's all this anxiety about getting the permissions for the land, getting this, getting that. It's causing me so much anxiety. It's disturbing my japa. And Prabhupada's reply completely disarmed him. He said, Prabhupada said, it is disturbing my japa also. And then Prabhupada added, your anxiety for serving Krishna will take you to Krishna. Your anxiety for serving Krishna. See, because for us, it's a matter of a relationship with Krishna. And when there is a relationship, in a relationship, there is a rich variety of emotions. A relationship, yes, definitely there is happiness. But happiness is only one component in the relationship. So, sometimes in a relationship, there can be anxiety. Say, a husband and a wife have a very good relationship. But say, their child has met with some accident. And the mother rushes, and the child has met with some accident from school, and the school has taken him to the hospital. The mother rushes from the home. The father rushes from the workplace. The mother also rushes from the workplace, wherever they come together. Now, both of them are together, and they're waiting, what is the report? Now, they are coming closer to each other, but they're not happy. In the relationship, anxiety can also bring people together, isn't it? So, sometimes there may be not anxiety so much as tension. Tension is more of something like stress. Say the child's 10th exam has been given and the board results are going to come out. We're waiting. So, there's some tension. You can call it anxiety, but it's slightly different. So, in a relationship, there are different emotions. Sometimes there is peace. Sometimes when two people come together, after they meet after a long time, they may have some things to talk. But after that, they just be together and they're just happy to be in each other's presence. Like when two people care for each other, there can be a comfortable silence between them. They don't have to necessarily talk. Now, sometimes two people can be together and there can be silence which is very uncomfortable. Because neither of them maybe wants to be there. They're thinking how to talk, what not to talk. So the point is, in a relationship, there are many different emotions. And if we think that, okay, in Krishna consciousness, I will have peace, I will have joy. Yes, we will have those. But if that is all that we think we will have, then we will miss out on the richness of the relationship with Krishna. A real relationship has a variety of emotions. And many times, when we take up anxiety for our loved one, that shows our love. From a material perspective, Prabhupada was far more peaceful in Vrindavan. When he left it all to go to America, at a logistical level, there was a lot of anxiety. Even practically, where was he going to stay? What was he going to do? Where was he going to get his funds? A lot of anxiety was there. In Vrindavan, he didn't have so much anxiety about funds. Madhukari, he could do, always he could get some food. In America, you cannot do Madhukari. So the point is that Prabhupada took up that anxiety because that anxiety was serving Krishna. That anxiety was enabling him to serve Krishna. Now, of course, we cannot take so much anxiety that it causes a rupture in the relationship itself. Anxieties may be there, but then we have to make sure that we are connected with Krishna. So sometimes anxiety can become unmanageable. And then we may have to, if we have just too much service and because of that there's anxiety, then we may have to delegate service to someone, maybe take a step back from some responsibilities. That practically we have to consider our limitations, our situations. But the principle is, bhakti is not about simply an anxiety-free life. It is about a Krishna-conscious life, a life in a relationship with Krishna. So now having said this, so there are multiple emotions in any relationship, and these emotions enrich the relationship. So generally speaking, emotions and desires, are they the same thing? No. Okay, what is the difference? Sorry? You have no desire for explaining. Okay. Now, it could be complex, but broadly speaking, this is our consciousness and this is the outer world. So, when perception comes from outside to inside, what we experience is emotion. When we seek to do something, that is desire. So generally, emotion is more associated with the jnanendriyas. What we take in, that is what triggers emotions, jnanendriya. Now, of course, whatever emotions we feel, subsequently, say dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu upajayate. We contemplate and sangas, hey, that's nice, that's good, that looks great. So that's an emotion. Sangha, that's good. But then after that, sangat sanjayate kamaha. Okay, that's good, I want it. That is the desire. So desire generally pushes our karmendriyas. So both emotions and desires are related, but they are not the same. So for example, when Krishna, it is said that we will all feel tempted in life. The world is filled with attractive objects and we'll feel tempted. To feel tempted is not wrong. If we see something attractive, we feel attracted. But to act on it, especially to act on it in an adharmic way, that is definitely wrong. So, in a real relationship with Krishna, we'll have emotions and we'll have desires. So, if a devotee sees a magnificent building, a devotee may say, oh, Krishna should have a temple like this. That's emotion, hey, that's a great building. And the desire is, maybe you should make a temple for Krishna like this. So emotion can lead to desire. So yesterday I didn't get to clarify one point. Gaulya Prabhu had asked me also, so I'll explain that now. That what is the difference between, say, having a material desire and having domination by desire? So if Prabhupada is serving Krishna, then what about his spiritual? Desires are spiritual. See, the principle is a devotee also has desires to serve Krishna. But for a devotee, the desire, if Krishna is here and the world is here, this is the devotee. There's a desire for Krishna and there is a desire to serve Krishna through the world. Okay? So now, for example, when we come in front of the deities, we want to take darshan of the deities. We may also think, okay, maybe I want to offer a golden necklace to the deities. Maybe I want to build a temple for the deities. So there is a desire for Krishna and you can say desire for facilities for Krishna. So the test of our devotion should be that the desire for Krishna needs to be greater than the desire even for the facilities for Krishna. So domination by desire means that some desire becomes so dominant that it drives Krishna also out of our consciousness. I may say this desire is for Krishna only. But if the desire for Krishna is taking up our mind so much, that then what is happening is that there's no place for Krishna only. If somebody says, okay, I want to give $1 million to Krishna in charity. Okay, that's a wonderful desire. But to earn $1 million, I have to work so hard, I'll be so busy that I won't have time to come to satsang, I won't have time to chant my rounds, I won't have time to do any bhakti. What is going to happen by that is, even if we get the $1 million, after we get the $1 million, the mind will think, okay, maybe I should get 2 million, then I'll give 1 million. So the desire for the $1 million will increase, the desire for Krishna will go away. So if you see, Prabhupada had many, many desires for serving Krishna. But Prabhupada was not dominated by those desires. See, if you see, we often talk about how spectacularly successful Srila Prabhupada was. So, and Prabhupada's success is spectacular. That he was able to build 108 temples, write over 70 books, inspire millions of people to take up bhakti. But Prabhupada's lack of success, that is also instructive. See, two of the things that Prabhupada invested himself the most in was his Bhagavatam translation and his Juhu temple. Prabhupada fought so hard for these two things. And the Juhu temple was so close to inauguration. Prabhupada departed from the world in November 1977 and the Juhu temple was inaugurated in Jan, Feb 1978. Just 2 to 3 months away. So Prabhupada could have said, Krishna, please let me stay for 2-3 months. I done this for you, let me see this success. But there was no dissatisfaction like that. Prabhupada, when he was asked toward the end of his life, do you have to, the last days, do you have any last desires? Prabhupada said, kuch ichha nahi. So, if Krishna wants me to be there, I'll be there. If Krishna doesn't want me to be there, I am okay with that. Prabhupada could have said, the Bhagavatam 10th canto is the most important. Let me complete, even if not the 11th and 12th canto, at least let me complete the 10th canto. And Prabhupada was doing what he could. Jayadvaita Maharaj was with Prabhupada. He was saying that Prabhupada had so little strength that Prabhupada could barely speak. They would keep the dictaphone right next to the lips of Srila Prabhupada, and that's how it would catch what they were dictating. So Prabhupada was doing everything he could. But still Prabhupada was not attached. So he had desire, but that desire did not dominate him. So dominate means it takes over everything else in our life. So that did not take over Krishna. That did not drive Krishna out of his consciousness. So for us, we all may have desires, we may also have plans. And our plans may be even for Krishna. I think, okay, if I get this job, if I can get this kind of house over here, maybe any other temple, maybe I get this level of financial stability, I can serve Krishna better. And maybe it is true. So we all can make plans. That's perfectly fine. But the key should be we hold our plans lightly. And we hold our Lord tightly. Hold our plans lightly, hold our Lord tightly. Sometimes we do the opposite. We hold our plans tightly. And Krishna, why is this not working? What is the point of my doing all this bhakti if this doesn't work? And we start holding our Lord lightly. So that should not happen. So the gopis are agitated here, Kshobhayantihi. But still they are remembering Krishna. Their remembrance of Krishna has not become diverted. That is still fixed and focused. Okay. So let's sing once. I'll quickly tell the meaning, then we recite it once. Chalasi yad vrajaj. So from Vrinda, Chalasi, when you move out. Charayan Pashun, when you go out to graze the Pashu, the cows. Nalina Sundaram, Nathate Padam. Your lotus feet are just like, your feet are just like lotus flowers. They're so gentle. Here, not so just so beautiful, they're so tender. Shila Trunankurai. That in the forest of Vrindavan, there are pebbles, there are thorns, there are branches. That see the titina, those will be piercing your feet. They'll be hurting your feet. And thinking of this, Kalilatam Manaha Kanta Gachati. Oh Lord, we are being extremely agitated, thinking that your lotus feet are being hurt. So, Krishna, a small piercing of your lotus feet is like a ripping apart of our heart. Krishna, please come back. Please return. Even if you are upset with us, because of us, please don't stay away. Please don't hurt yourself. Please come back. Yes.
Chalasi yadvrajan Charayan Pashu. Nalina Sundaram Nathate Padam. Shila Trinankurai Sidati Tinaha. Kalilatamana Kanta Gachati.
So, here the love of the gopis is being expressed in a different way. They're saying, Krishna, if you don't care that we are hurting, we still care that you are hurting. That we don't want you to hurt yourself for our sake. The Vraja forest is dark. When they have come to the banks of the Jamuna, there the forest is cleared a little bit. And they are sitting on the grass over there. They have gone deep into the forest in searching for Krishna. On the banks of the Jamuna, it's a clear bank. So there, Krishna is not there. They couldn't see him there. So they are still not seeing Krishna. So they're thinking Krishna is in the forest. The forest is so dark, oh Krishna. And if we can't see, even Krishna will not be able to see. If Krishna is not able to see, then he may step on a thorn. That will hurt him. Krishna, please. We don't want you to be hurt. Please come back. We will nurse your lotus feet. If there is any hurt, we will help heal it. So, now the same gopis have in a few verses earlier said, Fani fanarpitam te padambujam. Krishna, they know that Krishna has danced on the hoods of Kaliya. And those hoods had fangs, they had poisonous teeth. And they know Krishna has survived that. Krishna has thrashed Kaliya. So they could have said, Krishna, what are these thorns going to do to you? You know, the fangs of Kaliya could not do anything to you. So we may say, if the fana, they didn't hurt, then what is Truna going to hurt? Is it? So why should we care? But that is not the mood of devotion. The mood of devotion is a mood of service. So this kind of implication is not there. Even if Krishna is all powerful, a devotee thinks that I am meant to serve Krishna. And if Krishna is in discomfort, we want to comfort him. We want to serve him. So there is philosophy and there is the purpose of philosophy. Krishna talks about jnanam jneyam jnana gamyam hridhi sarvasya avasthitam. That there's jnana, jnaya. This jnana is knowledge. Jnaya is the object of knowledge. Jnana gamya is the objective of knowledge. Why are we seeking knowledge? So it is important that whatever philosophy we know, the purpose of philosophy ultimately is service attitude. Service attitude toward Krishna and service attitude towards others in relationship with Krishna. That is the ultimate purpose of philosophy. So now, in one sense, you could say philosophy is like a vast circle. Now, from that, we need to draw those points which enhance our service attitude, not those points which destroy our service attitude. Prabhupada says in a lecture that Krishna doesn't say to Arjuna, Arjuna doesn't say to Krishna, Arjuna doesn't say to Krishna that, Krishna, you showed me the universal form, you showed how all the Kauravas are going to die, so you kill them now. He doesn't say that, he says, Karishye vachanam tava. So in the Gita, there is Gita's knowledge is there. And then how does Arjuna choose that? He doesn't choose the point that God is all powerful. So that is true, but he can do it himself. He doesn't take that point from there. What he takes is, God is all powerful and I am a part of that all powerful God. So let me do what he wants. That is the point that Arjuna takes from the scripture. So this is what? So this will not enhance our service attitude. So this is to be avoided. This, I will serve him. Karishye vachanam tava. This will enhance our seva bhava. So it's vital that we take philosophy in the light of its purpose. Otherwise, philosophy can actually take us away from Krishna. I'll take 3 examples of this. First is Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu, while instructing Hiranyaksha's widow and his sons, he says that the soul is eternal. And now that is true. Krishna is also telling Arjuna soul is eternal. What is Hiranyakashipu's conclusion? He says, because the soul is eternal, he said that I will perform austerity lifetime after lifetime as long as it takes till I become powerful enough to kill Vishnu. And in the meantime, you attack the Yagyasthali, you attack the sages, you attack the Brahmanas and take away everything that is in support of Vishnu. So his knowledge led to the opposite conclusion. Isn't it? The soul is eternal, therefore we should seek an eternal object of love. Now he says, the soul is eternal, therefore I have an eternal object of enmity. I have an eternal objective of revenge. So it's completely opposite. So his jnana gamya is the opposite of what should be. Similarly, say if we are serving a senior devotee, maybe you think, oh, the senior devotee is such an advanced devotee. And this devotee has done so much seva to Krishna. He's so pure. And suppose that devotee gets some cancer, some terrible disease. I think, okay, why does one get cancer? I thought you were such a great soul, but you must have done some terrible karma in the past. That's why you got cancer. All that you think about you being a pure devotee, no, you're not a pure devotee at all. You are a sinful person. And the proof of your sinfulness is you got cancer. Therefore, I should not serve you. Should we think like that? No, why they got cancer is between them and Krishna. Isn't it? That is not for us to know. We should think, okay, this is a devotee, this devotee is in distress, I should serve this devotee. Okay? So, when there's an advanced devotee and advanced devotee gets some disease, we could say at one level, so the point is, we shouldn't be seeing what is their past karma. We should see what will enhance our seva bhav. Whatever, the thinking of the past karma is not going to enhance our seva bhav. Or for that matter, if some devotee is in pain, say, Prabhu, you're not the body, you're the soul. Well, if we say that, we are saying philosophy to justify not doing service. Isn't it? So, actually, yeah, we are not the body, true, but we live through the body. The body is our instrument for serving Krishna, and if the body is in trouble, we feel troubled by that. So, if our philosophy takes away our service attitude, that is not at all healthy. And third is, if somebody is subjected to some atrocity, they may not even be a devotee. If some innocent person also is subjected to some atrocity. As recently, that 4 or 5 days ago, there's a controversy going on. In Tamil Nadu, in some school, they invited some Hindu teacher to come. And in that class, apparently the teacher, or one of the teachers who was attending, she was physically handicapped. And this Hindu teacher, while giving an example of karma, he said, if somebody has a physical handicap, that's because of their past karma. And it's created such a furor over there. So now we have to have a certain level of, first of all, decency, but more importantly, humility. See, why do we talk about past karma in such situations? There was this horrible rape of that person, that medical student that happened in Kolkata. Horrendous what was done. So somebody asked me a question when I said, what was her karma? I said that when Draupadi was dishonored, did anybody ask her what was her karma? When Sita was abducted, did Ram say, it must have been your karma only because you got abducted? No. When somebody is in distress, when somebody is subjected to atrocity, we should never think about their past karma. What we should be thinking about is my present dharma, not their past karma. That what is it for me to do over there? See, once we start thinking about people's past karma, where are we going to stop? If a mother has a newborn baby and the baby is crying, should the mother think the baby is crying because of past karma? If I comfort the baby, I am interfering with her past karma. So therefore, I will let the baby cry. If some speaker says that, in their class, bring a crying baby. And say, take the baby away, tell the speaker, the baby is crying because of your past karma. Isn't it? See, it is very easy to use philosophy as long as that philosophy does not cost us anything. When the philosophy starts costing us something, immediately we find some other way to do things. If I am sick, I will go to a doctor. And if somebody else is sick, tolerate it, it's your karma. So, we should have service attitude. See, Krishna says, Gahana karmano gati. The movement of karma is very complex. And why something is happening in somebody's life is very difficult to know. Even Dharma personified as the bull, When speaking to Yudhishthira, Parikshit Maharaj says, Parikshit Maharaj asks him, what is the cause of your suffering? And he says, Nakva karma bijanam vakya bheda vimohita. So he said that what is the cause of suffering? Klesha, vakya bheda vimohita. There are different theories about it. I don't know. Dharma himself is saying, I don't know the cause of suffering. And we have so much certainty this person is suffering because of their past karma. What arrogance! See, the focus of karma is not, generally karma is forward looking, not backward looking. What it means is that the implication of karma is eminently positive, that our actions matter even if they don't seem to. I may be working very hard and my boss is not recognizing me. This other fellow doesn't have half of my work and this has got a raise. This person has got a promotion. So, maybe doing hard work is of no use in life. Life is all twisted. No. Sometimes the results that we get in our life are also because of past karma. So, our present actions do matter even though the results don't seem to be coming. So the emphasis of karma is eminently life affirming. Our present actions matter. Karmanne vadhikaraste. Krishna says, you have a right to do your work because through your work, you can make a positive difference in the world. In your own future and in the world's future also. So therefore, the essential implication of Krishna is, of karma is, our actions matter. Therefore, choose wisely. Therefore, act intelligently. That is the implication of karma. Our actions matter. So, the gopis are not thinking of Krishna's divinity and saying that Krishna is not going to be hurt. Philosophy should lead to service attitude. That's why from within the philosophy, we need to find out those points which enhance our service attitude. So, is it true that a suffering comes because of past karma? Well, suffering has many causes. And which particular cause is working right now, it's difficult to know. Say, if I put my hand near fire and my hand gets burned, is it because of past karma? Well, it's because of present karma. If somebody eats a dozen ice creams on a cold night, and next morning, their throat is terrible. Previous night they were saying ice cream, now they say ice cream. Now, is that because of, if the throat is terrible, is it because of past karma? Well, yes, but it is past night's karma, not past life's karma. So, when some situation comes in our life, when we face some situation, it is a result of a unpredictable combination of present and past actions. So present actions play a role, past actions play a role. Now how much is the present action, how much is the past action? We don't know. And there has to be humility. Gahana karmano gati. Why suffering is there, I don't know. But what I do know is that if we take shelter of Krishna, the suffering will decrease. The suffering will gradually go away. I was once giving a class in a very leftist college. Generally, we do our outreach in engineering colleges. So there the students are not very ideologically indoctrinated. In leftist colleges, especially humanities, arts colleges, the students get quite ideologically indoctrinated. So I was giving a class. And after that, one boy asked a question. He said that, you are telling us about this whole philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita teaches karma. He said, you have got a physical handicap. That means you have done some past karma, bad karma in the past. So if you have done bad karma, what right do you have to tell us about what kind of karma we should do? So then I replied, yes, it's probably true that I did some bad karma in the past. But the fact is, Krishna is so merciful that in spite of my bad karma, he has accepted me and he's engaged me in some service. He says, you have not done any bad karma like that. You will be accepted by Krishna much faster. So serve him. So the point here is that philosophy can be weaponized, and we should never be weaponizing philosophy. We should be thinking how philosophy should be used to increase our service attitude. And yes, who has done past what karma, that is not our consideration. Our consideration should be, what is my dharma in this situation? Okay. So I'll summarize what I discussed. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, then I will not take any other words. Let me summarize, then we can have questions. So mainly we discussed 2 points today. We discussed first about, based on the Gopi Gita, about how kuhakuno manaha kshobhayantihi. The Gopis are saying our minds are agitated. So we talked about how can bhakti agitate our mind? Well, yes, bhakti has 2 aspects. So there is remembrance and there is service, internal, external. And service sometimes can work against remembrance. So sometimes we may have service, through service we fight against the world, in remembrance we fight against the mind. Now, when service goes against our remembrance, what it means is we have a relationship with Krishna. And in the relationship there is happiness, there is peace, but there is also anxiety. There is also tension. There are a variety of emotions. So there are many emotions within a relationship with Krishna. That's why when we are serving Krishna, we accept that I'm not just looking for peace. I'm trying to relate with Krishna. That's why we hold our plans lightly. We all will make plans to serve Krishna, but we need to hold our Lord tightly. That anxiety is there, okay. What that means is, yes, this anxiety is that I want to serve Krishna and I'll do my best, but if it doesn't work, then that's okay. We discussed the example of Srila Prabhupada's 2 most cherished projects not working out, Juhu and Bhagavatam. But Prabhupada was not so agitated by that he disconnected with Krishna. He remained focused on Krishna. And then next we discussed about Krishna in pain. The feet of Krishna being pierced by the pebbles in Vrindavan. So the Gopis, we discussed about how there is philosophy and there is purpose of philosophy. So whatever philosophical point we take, its result should be our service attitude should increase. So from the whole vast box of philosophy, we need to take out that point which will increase our service attitude. So otherwise, it's a misuse of philosophy. And discussed 3 examples of that. Hiranyakashipu misusing, and then a devotee having a disease, and somebody suffering some horrendous injustice or atrocity. So our focus should not be on any people's past karma. Our focus should be on our present dharma. And that way we will have our service attitude. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, please. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for bringing the point of anxiety in service. Because I always get feedbacks from devotees that I get very anxious in service. The factors which are under my control, I try to totally take care of it. But then to the anxiety arises. So I just want to know what are the symptoms that I am going overboard. That sometimes I may lose Krishna. I am not able to understand.
What are the symptoms?
Symptoms that I'm going overboard in my anxiety. That I should.
Okay. Yuktahara viharasya, Krishna says, regulated in everything. So, in general, there are these 3 zones of functioning. There is comfort zone, then there is stretch zone, and then there is panic zone. So, say if somebody goes to a gym to lift weights, now if their capacity to lift, they can lift about 15 kg weight, and they lift 1 kg weight, Well, they are not really going to develop anything. It's not going to be workout. Maybe going to the gym will be a bigger workout than lifting the weight. So, if we are in a comfort zone, there's no stretch at all. So, generally, comfort zone is associated with tamas, the mode of ignorance. Now, if we are to grow, we need to push ourselves. So, if somebody can lift 15 kg, then they try to lift 15.5, 16. That stretch is what is going to help them grow. So, in yoga, it's all about stretching the body. But the key is, even in yoga, we have to stretch our body, but stretch our body in a way that is not too uncomfortable. It shouldn't be causing pain. If it starts causing pain, then don't hold the pose for so long. Stop it. Okay, so the idea is that we want to come out of the comfort zone to the stretch zone. But even that, it's almost, you can say, we want a comfortable way out of the comfort zone. A comfortable way. If somebody is doing a pose which is very uncomfortable, then that's not very healthy to do. We want to stretch ourselves in a way that is comfortable for us. So we don't just, no, stretching ourselves is like sattva, broadly. In any area we want to grow, we need to learn something. If you're reading a book, okay, I want to learn something new. It will exercise my brain, but that's how my brain will develop, my knowledge will develop. So now, when somebody can lift 15 kg weight and they lift a 50 kg weight, then what will happen? They themselves will become a weight that somebody has to lift on a stretcher afterwards. So, that is the panic zone. This is in Rajas. So, in Rajas, what happens? In general, we could say, with respect to our capacities, in Rajas, we overestimate our capacity. Yesterday, I talked about ego. Ego means I can do everything. So, ego is a characteristic of Rajoguna. I can do everything. We overestimate our capacity. Tamas, we underestimate our capacity. I can do nothing. So, in Sattva, we are able to better estimate our capacity. So, broadly speaking, how do we know that the anxiety we are taking is too much? It will be that it just makes us dysfunctional. That particular service, like if I try to lift a heavy weight, I just become dysfunctional after that for some time at least. So like that, if say somebody has a managerial nature, they are good at managing, then they may be doing 10 things and they can do all 10 things, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. Their mind can keep track of it all, like they can juggle many balls. Now some people just don't have a managerial nature. Okay, let me complete one project, then I'll start the next project. If that is what our nature is, then that's what we do. So somebody who can do 10 things, they told just do one thing at a time. See, the idea of one thing at a time, it sounds good, but it's not necessarily always true. Our consciousness is very powerful, and we can do parallel processing of things. Say, when we are driving a car, we can be hearing a lecture. So we can, and most of us, we will, apart from when we come for classes, physically sitting, most of us, when we hear classes, it's like parallel processing. We may be doing dishes, we may be doing laundry, we may be going for a walk. So it's perfectly fine. The thing is that parallel processing, when can we do it? When it doesn't cause a cognitive overload. If with 2 earphones, I hear 2 classes. There is no parallel processing, there is parallel confusing over there. So, that is a cognitive overload, that is too much, because the same faculty, the same brain is being used for both things. So we can do multiple. Some people, they need to do multiple things. That's when they feel I'm engaged sufficiently. But some people, they say, okay, let me just do one thing at a time. So we find out how we work best. Okay? Thank you. Yes, bro. Last question. Mike?
Thank you for the wonderful class. Can we increase our capacity to take anxiety of Krishna? Like you said, there are some people who can juggle multiple balls. There are some people.
Can we increase our capacity? I would say definitely. See, the whole point of growing in life is growing in our capacity to take responsibilities. Say, a 5-year-old child, doesn't have much anxiety. A 15-year-old child has much more anxiety. A 25-year-old person, youth, has much more anxieties. And now that's because they're growing, they're taking responsibilities. So it is natural. As we grow, even biologically as we grow, our capacity to take up responsibility grows. And one says every responsibility brings with it some anxiety. So we can increase our capacity, no doubt. At the same time, we may not be able to increase our capacity for taking anxiety. Say, for example, if this is my capacity right now, capacity for taking anxiety. Now, for some people, the growth may happen, but the growth would be something like this. That means in the same domain they grow. Okay, okay, I can give a class. Then someone has to give one class. I need 1 week preparation. And after some time, okay, in 1 week I have 10 classes. Okay, I'll allot this time for preparing this, I'll allot this time for preparing that, I'll allot this time for preparing. So that capacity may increase. Now for some people, it may be not just in that domain, their capacity to take anxiety in all domains may increase. So that depends. That means, okay, I can not only give classes, I can also counsel people after that, I can also do management. So some people can do both ways. But multiple things, some people may not do. So our capacity will grow, but it may not necessarily grow in all directions. It could grow in one direction. And sometimes we find that, okay, somebody starts with taking a lot of anxiety. Okay, I'll do all kinds of services. After some time they discover, that actually I am better off as a manager. I don't want to be a speaker. Somebody say, I want to be a speaker, I don't want to be a manager. That's okay. So our capacity will grow, but which way it will grow, that has to be explored. Okay. So, yeah, please, last one, we'll take it.
Prabhuji, just yesterday I was talking with a boy who is relatively new to Krishna consciousness, and he was mentioning some dreams which he has had previously also, and now also is having some kind of bad dreams about snakes or something. So I understand sometimes we use the philosophy of karma a little insensitively, but like I had to tell him some things related to karma. I did not use the word karma, but something related to past. So I was just thinking, can a part of our present dharma be to tell the person about his past karma?
Yes, it is a part, it is not the whole. That is the key thing. See, when somebody is suffering, so different people are going through different situations in their life, or rather, different people go through different situations in different ways. So our focus should be service attitude. How can I serve this person? And while serving, if making the point of karma is helpful, we can make it. But the karma should not be used to simply get God off the hook. Don't blame God. It should not be just to justify our philosophy. Nothing is wrong. You are only wrong. So if that happens, then that is weaponization of the philosophy. We are using the philosophy for a particular agenda. Just like, say, consider in Chicago, one of my devotee friends is a doctor, and he works in the emergency department over there. So there are many people who take drug overdoses and they come there. Now, sometimes people come repeatedly after drug overdoses. So now when they come repeatedly, now at that time when the person is overdosed, the doctor cannot chastise them. Why did you take overdose? At that time, the doctor's duty is to treat the patient. Now afterwards, the doctor needs to tell, if you keep taking overdose, it's going to be one of the ways, it could be fatal. And we will try to help you, but we may not be able to help you. So when the person is in a particular condition, our focus should be to help them. And helping them, a part of it can be telling about the cause also. But if that is all that we are doing, that's not very helpful. So, now with respect to karma, it depends on the individual. How they are psychologically placed. That means if a person is already very depressed, they're already feeling very down, I am worthless, I am terrible, I am facing so many problems. And then you tell them, your problems are because of your own making. You're such a terrible person. That's how they will interpret it. That means, I know all the bad things I've done in this life. Now you're telling me I did further bad things in previous life also. So, so basically, if that person becomes psychologically burdened by it, if that person becomes dysfunctional, then you can say, no, yeah, in this life bad things happen. Why they happen is difficult to know. But, we can take shelter of Krishna, and that can give us the strength to face the difficulties. But sometimes, rather than getting into the cause, we focus on the cure. Sometimes, as a part of giving the cure, we can also explain the cause. But karma is much more complex than what we think. And as far as I have not seen a single place in scripture where someone is suffering and someone else is telling them, this is because of your karma. Sometimes the person who is suffering may themselves say, I don't know what karma I had done in the past because of which I am suffering like this. But I have not seen a single place where someone else is suffering and the other person says, it's your karma. When the citizens are starving, Pruthu doesn't tell him, it's your own karma, you're starving. When Ranti Dev, Shibi, the animals come to them saying, we are hungry, or whoever comes to them saying, we are hungry, hunger is because of your own karma. Nowhere, not in a single instance in scripture like that. Now, sometimes when a person is suffering, if you see, even when Chitraketu passes away, Chitraketu's son passes away, Harshashok, the sages come and speak quite strongly to him. But they are focusing more on Atma Gyan, the eternality of the soul, the temporariness of worldly relationships. They don't tell him, your son has died because it's your own karma. No, I don't think that's generally a very sympathetic way of functioning. In fact, this is one of the strongest weapons used by Christians to criticize Hindus. And they say, in India there is so much poverty, there is such a discriminatory caste system, and all that is because the Hindus believe in karma. That's why they are so concerned about getting rid of their own karma, that they will go and donate in temples, but they will not give any charity to poor people. So they are more calculative than compassionate. But our religion, it tells us that, we should always serve others. We should always benefit others. We should see that Jesus is served by serving every poor person. So this whole concept of Daridranara and all that was introduced by the Mayavadis because they saw that a lot of Hindus were getting converted. And poor Hindus were getting converted, and wealthy Hindus were not helping at all. So, people who are lower caste, they say, you are lower caste because you had done bad karma in the past. So stay where you are, you filthy person. They say, no, everybody should get the opportunity to be elevated. And so the idea is, now, is karma meant for this? The philosophy, no. Has it been used like that? Unfortunately, it has been. Does it have to be used like that? Not at all. Actually, giving charity is a means to clear ourselves of past karma. The idea is that I have some karmic debt. When I do some good, yagya dana tapa, then when somebody receives charity from me, then by that they are helping me clear myself of past karma. So I'm grateful that you are accepting my charity. That is a way you could look at charity from a different perspective. Now, of course, we should consider whom we give charity to. We should not give charity to alcoholics so that they'll drink more. But that's the most extreme kind of charity. So, karma is, it has been unfortunately misused. It's like one of the ways in which a lot of conversions are happening is through adoptions. Among all the religions in the world, Hindus have the least adoption rate. Christians have the highest. There's one Hollywood star, he has 10 children. 5 of his own children and 5 children he has adopted from 5 other continents. So it's a matter of glamour. But they say that we are doing a great service. Now Buddhists accept the same point of karma. But Buddhists have a fairly high adoption rate. So their idea is that, in Hindus their idea is we don't know what karma this child is bringing, from what gotra is come, what dynasty, I don't want to get involved with it. But the Buddhists say that by taking the responsibility for a child whose karma we don't know, we will be decreasing our karmic load. So the same philosophy can be seen in different ways. So the point is that our service attitude should not go down. So now, in general, I'll add one point before it. There is, whenever we look at something, there are three factors the Mahabharata says. Is the action good or bad? We can look at the content of the action, we can look at the consequence of the action, and we can look at the intent of the action. So that means, what am I doing, why am I doing it, and what will be the result of doing it. So what has happened is, for many Hindus, karma philosophy has made them very consequence conscious, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Oh, if I give food to this person, and if I give money to this person misuses the money, then I'll get the karma. Well, maybe, but Krishna is also bhavagrahi. Our intent was not that the person should misuse it. So the action's utility, action's virtuosity is determined not only by the consequence, it's also what we are doing and why we are doing. If my intent was good, I only wanted to help that person. If that person misused it, then am I to be held responsible for that? Well, it depends. If I knew that this person is likely to misuse it, then maybe I shouldn't be giving it. So what has happened? That's why I said, if we become too calculative, then that is being calculative and being compassionate, they are opposite things. So when a guru takes disciples, so at that time the guru is very calculative. Then how will the movement grow? So the thing is that all three factors need to be considered. So intent, content, and consequence. We don't want charity to be misused, and that caution has to be taken that charity should not be misused. But the point is that should not make us so calculative that we become heartless. So if the act of charity itself is a good act. Sometimes some people's intention may be just, I want to become famous. I want to have a reputation of being a charitable person. Well, that can diminish the value of the charity. And sometimes we may give charity to causes where we are not aware, and that leads to misuse of charity. That's bad. Overall, we should consider all three things. But in general, the philosophy of karma, if it makes us heartless, uncompassionate, that is not how things should be happening. That is because of misunderstanding or misuse of karma. Okay? So thank you very much. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki, Shri Gopi Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.